Hello and welcome to On the Shelves at ACPL. This week we're in a different location because we are going to be talking about young adult books today. I have a great selection of our newest young adult books, so let's get started. Our first set of books are romances, and our first one is Salty, Bitter, Sweet by Mayra Cuevas. This is a story about a young lady named Isabel or Isa. Her parents have just gotten divorced, and she has moved in with her dad and her stepmother in France. Her life is kind of tumultuous right now. She's not quite sure what to say to her dad. Why did you cheat on my mom? That conversation's a little hard to have. And fitting in with her stepmother and adjusting to a new location and place. The benefit is that her father and stepmother live very near a restaurant run by a chef who does a prestigious apprenticeship, internship kind of competition. And so Isa can participate in this because she really wants to become a chef. But of course, as all things go, she meets a boy named Diego and then finds out that her stepmother is pregnant. And is she going to be able to figure out how to be a strong single woman who is also a chef, or is she going to find love? What will happen with the apprenticeship at the restaurant? You'll have to pick up the book to find out. Our next book is This Is My Brain in Love by I.W. Gregorio. It is about two young people. Will wants to be a reporter and is going after a coveted job at his school paper. Joss wants to make it through high school and maybe direct a short film with her best friend. But then she finds out that her family restaurant is going down the drain. They are about to lose their restaurant. And Will, who didn't get the job that he wanted on the school paper, is suddenly their new employee at their Chinese restaurant. The two of them start with being partners, trying to drag the restaurant into the modern age, use social media, promote the restaurant. But then they kind of start falling in love and a relationship begins. But Joss's family says you cannot be together unless you can save the restaurant. So the two of them work even harder to see what they can do, but realize the issues that they're facing may not be so much restaurant related as can the two of them get over their own anxieties and worries and depression about not getting what they thought they wanted to keep the business going and to keep their relationship going. Our next book is Only Mostly Devastated by Sophie Gonzales. Will and Ollie have a great summer fling. Will is the perfect boyfriend for the summer. But then school starts up and Ollie keeps texting Will and he's not responding. In the meantime, Ollie also finds out that his dad has lost his job and they have to move across country. Well, of course, whose school does he end up at but Will's? And Will is, instead of being the wonderfully queer, fabulous person that he was that summer, when he is at school, he is closeted and very jockey and not very nice. So Ollie kind of gives up on him, says, okay, that was the summer, and obviously Will is not ready to have a relationship here at his high school. But then Will keeps showing up. Ollie has to decide, is it worth giving my heart to Will once more? Will he stomp it flat again, or do we have a chance? Our next book is Girl Crushed by Katie Heaney. In this book, Quinn has her life all planned out. It is her senior year. She is going to play soccer. She's going to be the captain of the team. UNC is going to call and recruit her to be on their college team. And she and her girlfriend, Jamie, are going to continue their relationship and maybe go off to college together. But then senior year begins and things aren't working out so well. Her girlfriend breaks up with her. And she doesn't get to be captain of the soccer team. Someone else is elected, and UNC hasn't called to offer her a scholarship quite yet. So Quinn meets a young lady named Ruby, who is the lead singer of a local band. And suddenly she realizes that she spent her whole life loving soccer and having these dreams of becoming a soccer player, that she hasn't maybe explored some of the other things in her life that she might really enjoy. And Ruby brings that in. But at the same time, she finds herself missing that life, missing soccer and missing Jamie. And she thinks maybe Jamie's missing her too. So which girl will Quinn end up with? What will be her life? How will her senior year end? Our next romance is The Henna Wars by Adiba Jaigirdar. In this book, Nishat is told by her parents that she can be anything she wants to be, except maybe a lesbian. But Nishat finds herself falling in love with her childhood friend, Flavia. And the two of them are working together on a project at school. They have to come up with a business and make it a successful one. They decide that they are going to be henna tattooists. And as they start working on this, Nishat looks at Flavia and realizes that it might be possible that Flavia has a crush on her too. And so Nishat has to decide, am I going to stick with my parents' expectations, or am I going to try to live my life to please myself? Our next book is The Best Laid Plans by Cameron Lund. Keely finds out at her 18th birthday party that her last friend in her friend group, who was also a virgin, has lost her virginity. Keely thinks this is something we've got to take care of, but when she looks around at all the boys she's known since kindergarten, she thinks, it's hard to get romantic about anyone who you've seen eating crayons. Then Dean comes into town, and he is everything she thinks that she wants in a man, but he is already in college, and she figures he is experienced, and she doesn't want to go to him inexperienced. So she hatches a plan that her best friend Andrew, who has been with a couple other girls, could help her. They could be romantic, and then she could go and have a relationship with Dean. But that only works if she doesn't fall in love with Andrew. What might happen in this book? So you'll have to read the book to find out whether she ends up with Andrew or with Dean, and if her best laid plans actually turn out the way she expects them to. Our next book is Just a Boy and a Girl in a Little Canoe by Sarah Mlynowski. Sam's summer is not starting off the way she expected. Her boyfriend Eli is traveling Europe for the summer, and she finds herself working as a camp counselor at a camp that she told herself at 11 she would never return to. But she meets Gavin, who is the canoeing instructor, and sparks fly. And Gavin does a lot of really sweet romantic things. And so Sam has to figure out, what does she really want? Is Eli still the man for her? Or has the summer romance turned into something that might last? Our next book is The Gravity of Us by Phil Stamper. Cal is a social media journalist. He has a ton of followers, but then his dad gets chosen for the next NASA space mission. And when this happens, his whole family has to move to a base and his life really changes. They're under a microscope. It's very similar to how probably the first families of the astronauts felt when the first astronauts were going to go up into space, when the first astronauts were going to land on the moon. There's always a lot of pressure on those first families. Well, Cal meets Leon, who is a son of one of the other astronauts, and they fall in love. What happens when you fall in love with someone when you're under intense media scrutiny? And what happens when you also start to think that perhaps the government is hiding things from you and from the other families of the astronauts? Our last romance is This Train is Being Held by Ismee Williams. We have two people who have met on the train. Isa is a dancer. She would love to become a professional dancer, but her Havana-born mom is dead set against it. Alex is a baseball player, and his father would like him to go pro, but he thinks he might rather be a poet. So, of course, Alex and Isa meet on the train and fall in love, but neither of their families are necessarily going to be happy about this relationship. And so this book is about love and about trying to meet your parents' expectations when what you want is very different from what they want. Those are all of our young adult romances. If you see anything you like, go to alamancelibraries.org, click on catalog, search for the title, and put it on hold. Or you can give us a call at any of our branches and we can help you put it on hold. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on the shelves at ACPL.